All right, guys. Fortnite. I'm gonna drop way out here on the edge. Robert French coming back to you guys, also known as Red 5 French in the video game universe. Coming back with a little more video game and talking action. This is kind of like an ongoing series that I've been doing. It's a little bit of an accident. I started doing this thing where I just kind of talk and play video games at the same time. I was going to do a few of these, but I've done quite a few. Spider-Man, Mad Max, Star Wars. I'm going to do a little bit on Batman today. And I just basically pick something from my childhood, something I grew up with, talk about it while I play the video game. So here we go. We're going to talk about Batman today while I play some Fortnite, which I'm not great at. I'm not going to, like, you know... I'm not gonna hype you guys up for like a mad crazy game of Fortnite right here. This is gonna be it's gonna be me dying probably a lot. Yeah, I played some yesterday and it was really bad Fortnite yesterday. But we're here to talk about Batman. I'm gonna do on the edge here. I'm gonna kind of drop out of the way so I have like some time, I guess, to kind of talk about Batman before I just start getting blown away like immediately. Now, this, to me, at first was an odd skin choice for Fortnite because it's Batman running around with, like, a machine gun. Let's see here. Here he's got a pistol. And it's odd because Batman doesn't use a gun. Oh, I got circled. This is not too bad, actually. Right off the jump here. It's actually interesting I got the pistol. In fact, Batman has used a gun quite often. There's a Batman Beyond animated series. Oh, there's some grenades there too. Where in the beginning you see him using a handgun in order to get out of some trouble. Probably getting sniped here. I'm mad enough. He doesn't actually pull the trigger, but he definitely uses it to save his own life. Like I said, it's also a pistol. But in an early issue of Batman, actually it was Detective Comics, actually. It was before Batman, I think, was even a thing. It was Detective Comics issue like 31 or 32. Batman finds himself going up against some vampires and actually a lot of like dark forces, werewolves, giant monsters, gorillas, hypnotized zombie-like people, just all kind of weird enemies, and a vampire is ultimately behind it all, and he actually lays waste to the vampire with a handgun. So it's like one of the only times I've really ever seen Batman actually use a gun to not necessarily like ward off an enemy just by holding it as a threat, but actually using it. Like he shoots his vampire like point blank in the face. I think it's a Silver Bullet, maybe? I can't remember. It's an old, it's like I said, it's one of the original comics from the 30s, like Detective Comics 31 or 32. If you guys remember or know what I'm talking about, please feel free to comment in the comment section there below if you know what I'm talking about. Actually, no, I do remember. Oh my god, I do remember now. He, Batman, I think it's like issue 30, 32, I think. Makes silver bullets with a statue and a candle. I've got the issue somewhere in like a book of reprints, and yeah, he uses it to make silver bullets, and he uses that to shoot the, which, you know, you could, it's quite easy if you have a silver statue and a candle, a household candle, you can very easily make your own silver bullets. I think I'm gonna hold on to what I got. This isn't too bad here, actually. But yeah, then he, like, I don't even think he shoots the vampire in the heart. I think, like I said, he just straight up shoots him right in the face. Pretty hardcore. And then, you know, Frank Miller's Batman has used guns with rubber bullets and is not afraid to get a little dirty. So it's not that odd, I guess, to see Batman with a gun, but I was a little surprised that they went with this skin. I don't think I can get up this way here. A lot of my friends are talking about like Fortnite going like hardcore Disney skin now that they have the Stormtrooper skin and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't think we will see like Aladdin or Pinocchio running around with a gun. I don't think we'll see Belle, Snow White, Seven Dwarfs skins running around, blowing each other away. I don't think Disney's going to go quite that far. But I was surprised to see, out of all the DC characters to choose for a Fortnite skin, I was definitely surprised to see Batman, the one anti-gun kind of guy. But he has used a gun in the past, so if you're one of those who are like, this isn't correct, and we're kind of shocked, it's not that far off. Haven't really seen any action here, which isn't too bad. Oh, is this like a super chest, I think? Now I'm not using the pickaxe. Oh yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. Ah. What's going on? Help. What else do I want to get rid of? I'm gonna get rid of that pump. The pump, not the pump, the whatever. You know what I mean. All right, so back more to Batman. One of my favorite superheroes. I think a lot of people might argue that he's not really like a superhero per se, because he doesn't have superpowers. But I don't think that's true. I think Batman's pretty badass. I think he's one of the best superheroes. He has no powers, and I think that. Is that snow falling? Oh, right. We got some snow falling in Fortnite, guys. That is awesome. The clouds over here, but we got some snow falling on this hill. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. But yeah, in my opinion, Batman's like one of the best superheroes because he doesn't have any superpowers, and he's been able to defeat some pretty super people. Darkseid, even Superman himself, he's taken him down, so don't get much more super than that. He's got a lot of money. I didn't go with the I think I mentioned this, I didn't go with the pickaxe that comes with the skin. It's like this Batman-y kind of like, it looks like something that would come with the action figures or something back in the 90s, you know. So I didn't want to go with that. I went with these two axes here. I feel like this is what Batman would actually use if he were trying to mad up and get some materials. Now I'm not really great at Fortnite and building. I don't know why I'm even getting all these materials. I guess it might help me a little bit if I get in a pinch here or something, but I'm not really all that great at even building in this game, so it's just kind of a waste of time. Somebody else could use these materials a lot better. Now, like I said, I mentioned he's like one of my favorite superheroes. I did not get into Batman like I did with some of the other superheroes that I found through comic books. I mentioned it also, like, same was true with Spider-Man in my other video I mentioned. You know, I didn't find really Spider-Man through necessarily the comic books as so much as other things like movies, or not really movies, I guess with Spider-Man, but, you know, video games. But same with Batman. It wasn't necessarily the comics, but like the movies for sure with Michael Keaton. The earlier Adam West stuff, my parents definitely introduced me to. And I definitely remember watching, but, you know, I was a kid and I didn't really grow up in that era, and I just remember like thinking like, this is weird, and, you know, I didn't really get it, I guess. I love it now, of course. It's very campy and a lot of fun, but when I was a kid, the Batman Adam West series just really didn't click with me. I'm gonna go up here on this hill before there's some snow here. But the Michael Keaton movie grabbed me really, really hard. I was telling a friend of mine the other day too, we were doing a stream on his Twitch, and I'm looking forward to some downhill skiing action, like with James Bond, and some like shooting at the same time. I think that would be a lot of fun. You already got like these flag markers here. If any of you guys have seen like a decent James Bond movie, and by that I mean like an '80s cheesy one, and they're like in Norway somewhere or something, and there's like a cool skiing downhill like battle, and like they're all chasing James Bond downhill. I want to see that in the next season of Fortnite. Like I said, we already got the flag markers and stuff. But yeah, Michael Keaton's movies definitely grabbed me as a young kid. My dad took me and my sister to go see those, or my sister and I, sorry about my English there, to go see those in the theater. And that's what got me into Batman. I didn't get into the comics until like a little bit later, a couple of years later. So I was probably about like 12 or 13-ish. But the movies really got me. I remember watching the animated series when that came on Fox. That was one of those things like I had to rush home to go watch. And the movie really got me right away. I think because like I grew up watching a lot of horror movies and stuff. I'm just going to kind of chill up here right now, guys. I'm not going to engage anybody, so don't expect a whole lot of action right now. I'm just going to talk about Batman. Coming up watching a lot of horror movies and stuff, I liked the fact that it was so dark. I remember being like 8 or 9, probably about 9 years old, 9, 10 years old, and there was a lot of negative like feedback on the first Batman movie. There's a lot of negative feedback on a lot of DC movies, but there was a lot of negative feedback on the very first Batman movie, and it was because it was so dark. And I remember like there was one scene, and in particular they kind of pointed out on the news in the Michael Keaton Batman where he uses a grappling hook to pull the guy across the catwalk in the warehouse. And it was pretty graphic. Like he didn't shoot him in the neck. I think he shot him in the collar and like pulls him across with his jacket. But I mean, it looks pretty graphic, and I remember it got like a lot of negative feedback. But I love that scene. I thought that scene was so great because, like, I remember, like I said, the only other time I'd seen Batman really use a grappling hook was in, oh no, I didn't want to do that. Oh shoot, shoot. Well, it's cool. Got one of these right here. Just use this real quick. Kind of hang out here for a second. Hopefully I won't get sniped. Go ahead and pop one of these bad boys real quick too while I'm thinking about it. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, the first Michael Keaton Batman movie got like a lot of negative feedback because it was so dark. We got some shooting going on up here. But I remember liking that a lot because, like again, the only other time I'd seen Batman really use his grappling hook was in like that cheesy Adam West movie, and he was using it to like crawl up the side of a building, and it was effective. But here he was using his grappling hook that he used. Is that somebody down there? I think for climbing and scaling, and using it as more of like as an offensive weapon, and I thought that was just really cool. Don't get shot trying to get up this hill. Come on, Batman, jump. What was all that training for? Come on. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta get up here like that. Come on. Oh, I guess I can just do that. Sorry. But back to the movie. I remember, like I said, my sister and my dad going to go see it. My dad was sitting in between my sister and I. And from the very moment... Oh, wow, there's only 4 people left. It'd be crazy if I actually won this. I'm not even trying to win a game of Fortnite. I'm just running around here talking about Batman. But my sister and I, like I said, went to go see this movie with my father. And when the movie started, it opens with this camera winding through like this stone maze. And my sister was about 7 years old. I was about 8 or 9. And so she was a little confused by what we were seeing. So she was asking my dad, like, what is that? And my dad answered her and said he thinks it's the Batcave. They're going into the Batcave, is what he said. And I remember after looking at it for a few more minutes, I was like, no, that's the bat signal. And I kind of like were whispering back and forth, and I remember my dad kind of like looking at me like, the bat signal, like, what are you talking about? And then as the camera pulls and rotates, you do see that it is actually, in fact, a granite bat signal, and that it wasn't the bat cave, which I think is what they were leading you to believe, but that it's actually, you know, like I said, the bat logo. And I remember at that moment, like, it was that moment where I was like, there was just this connection with the character. Like, I just, you know, I was instantly like, wow, like, you know, I felt like Robin, you know, like I figured something out within this Batman universe, this Batman world, without even really having to try or having to think about it. It was just like an instinct. I just knew, like, this is the Batman logo. And from that moment, it was like there was just this instant connection with the character. Now, up until that moment, the only other connection I'd had with the character was a Nightwing comic book, which I didn't even know who Nightwing was, but Batman appeared and kind of like guest starred in this book, and I was like, oh wow, like, I remember thinking, like, you know, like, I knew who Batman was through like the Super Friends and stuff, but it was like one of those things, like, you know, you can never be Batman, but I didn't know who this Nightwing guy was. But I was like, man, you know, oh, it's a 1v1? You gotta be fucking kidding me. I might actually win this shit. This is crazy. But, oh, shoot, what was I saying? So I can't play video games and talk at the same time. Oh, this is crazy. I need to concentrate, actually. But I remember thinking, like, you know, I could be Nightwing. Like, I can't be Batman, but maybe I could be Nightwing. And I thought that was really cool. Oh, he's shooting at me. Or he's shooting at bushes or something. I mentioned before I had my appendix out. My appendix burst when I was about 12 years old. I mentioned that in my Spider-Man, one of my Spider-Man videos, because I was actually playing a Spider-Man game when it happened. But when I was recovering in the hospital, one of my uncles brought me a ton of Batman comic books. And it was my very first introduction really into Batman comics. I still have, oh, listen to my voice, I'm all shaky. I still have quite a few of them. But that was the first time I'd ever read any Batman comics. And I was instantly hooked on them. They became my favorite, like, right away. It was perfect. Very dark, very gritty, cool crime stories. Where's this guy shooting at? Oh no, I placed second. That's such bullcrap. I just don't know what to do. I panic so much. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, you got me. I should have played that better. I gave up my position way too early. Oh, well. Fortnite does need to update this so this hurries up. A friend of mine who streams has been complaining about the load time. I don't want to watch them dance on me either. It's very sad. But yeah, that's kind of how I fell in with Batman, through the movies and then through the comics after my appendix burst. Like I said, I was kind of getting into comics at that point anyway, and so then it was really fun to start reading those adventures. And then from there, the animated series was like, you know, right on the heels of the first movie and like the Batman Returns film. And so there was a lot of cool Batman stuff going on, and it was a really fun time. I mentioned that sort of with Spider-Man too. You know, there was a lot of, I'm sure, fans who grew up, you know, longing for a long time to get some of this, these animated series and some of these movies and shows and stuff that are out. And I didn't have to wait, you know, very long. As a kid, growing up reading comics, it was almost like, you know, I got into comics for a few years, and then almost instantaneously, like right after, boom, I had all the animated series and all of the fun stuff to watch on the afternoons when I got home from school and on Saturday mornings when I got up, and it was a lot of fun. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I don't want to run too long into 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead, I think, and hop off here. As far as my Fortnite video goes, hey, Alexa, play the Batman theme, please. Thank you. But yeah, thanks for tubing in. I appreciate it. Just listen to me ramble a little bit about Batman and kind of like how I discovered the character. Look for more videos on Batman in the future. I'm not done talking about him yet. I got a lot of stories about Batman. And until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell all your friends about me. I'm Batman.